Hey YouTube, Gamer Hushu here, back for another video. I know my hair's ridiculous, but whatever. It's an off day for me of sorts. So I thought I'd make a video about, just kind of generally about the whole Captain Marvel, Avengers, everything that's been going on. Just because I felt like talking about it a little bit. So obviously this is like a weird hybrid geek and political thing. Mostly it's just going to be, I guess, kind of geeky, whatever. So as you may well be aware, there's been a lot of controversy around the recent Captain Marvel movie leading up to it. Brie Larson went on record saying some stuff that's kind of bigoted and kind of ridiculous, essentially saying white men shouldn't be allowed to review movies that aren't strictly about white men, which is kind of weird, but I'm willing to kind of forgive it the same way I'm willing to forgive Chris Evans, because Chris Evans is kind of an idiot when it comes to political stuff, as far as I've seen, but I'll still respect him as Captain America. So I'm willing to still respect Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I have not seen Captain Marvel yet, and I don't know if I will anytime soon, like pre-Avengers Endgame, because most of the reviews I've seen are, yeah, it was okay, it was kind of boring. So I'm like, is it worth $10? A $10 movie ticket? Do I bother? Especially since, you know, I spent 5 minutes and found, okay, there's the synopsis of the plot. Okay, I get it. So I kind of know what goes on and how it's kind of going to connect in. But so the thing that kind of launched me into it, making this video, is the fact that Brie Larson appears decently prominently at the end of the Avengers Endgame trailer. I get the sense that essentially she's going to show up probably like 20 minutes into the movie and be part of the ensemble. Just like, hooray, or whatever. The thing that kind of bothers me, of sorts, about that is the way the trailer that came out today. They very much structure it as this movie is about the original Avengers saving the world one last time, of sorts. And I'm like, how does Captain Marvel fit in that? Because, you know, the promotional materials, people talking about it are like, oh yeah, Captain Marvel's the most powerful Avenger now, which previously was pretty much obviously Thor, just because, you know, Thor's technically kind of a god. I mean, it's this whole mysticism thingy. But with Doctor Strange down for the count with Infinity War, because Doctor Strange is also pretty powerful. We had the Time Stone for a good while. They're like, okay, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, is the new most powerful Avenger. I'm like, okay, how is that going to work? I guess the entire thing is, I'm still trying to figure out why they bothered to bring Captain Marvel in now. Because the character of Carol Danvers has been around for a while. I mean, obviously, she's been around since the 60s, but her as, like, her own character, the Captain Marvel, hasn't been around all that long and has never sold well. It's not like she's a favorite. She's no Spider-Man. I mean, it's hard to compare anybody to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, Batman, Superman are like the three most popular superheroes. Which, yeah. Probably Batman is the highest, though, of those three. Anyway, but so, I mean, once again, I'm not super familiar with the comics, but from what I understand, they've had to keep rebooting her because nobody's liked her. It's like, oh, we gotta try something else. And obviously when I say nobody liked her, some people did, but not a lot. Not as much as Captain America or Black Widow, or, I mean, for a lot of us, our favorite Avenger right now is Hawkeye / Ronin. Ronin, not Ronan. Whatever. So it's just weird to me that they brought her in, because there are other more interesting, more popular characters. There's even a separate Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, that is more popular, who's a black woman, which is great, because everybody loves that diversity. I mean, I'm like, I'm fine either way, but I don't, just if like trying to push the whole identitarian everything, do the black woman. Why are you doing the white woman? But okay. So, but the whole thing, I guess, that pushed me to making this video is the fact that almost immediately after that trailer came out, I started seeing people talking about, oh, I hate that Carol Danvers is gonna be in Endgame prominently, which of course we knew for forever. Even if the Captain Marvel movie is trash, and which obviously it's not, it's decent. It's in the low rungs of a really good film franchise, which still makes it better than, like, 60-70% of movies, probably. Even if that movie's not all that great, I'm still fine with having a character. And I feel like, from what I've heard of the Captain Marvel reviews, the biggest problem is that Brie Larson wasn't given very much to do, so she looks like a freaking idiot in the movie, and like she can't act all that well because the movie is written badly. So that's not her fault. I'm perfectly willing to not, go in like, screw Captain Marvel. We forgave Marvel for Thor 2, which was not all that great. Thor 2 and Iron Man 2 are both kind of not as good as some of the others, but we still went ahead with it, and people still love Tony Stark. People still love Thor, but the difference was those were the second movie, not the first. Because the first of both those were really solid. But so just like there's this weird rising movement that's going to exist for the next month or so, month and a half, until Endgame finally drops, of, oh, this movie's going to be trash because Captain Marvel's in it. I don't know. Everybody's like, oh, all the man baby crying is weird. Because really, yes, she's kind of shoehorned in. We could have just skipped her movie right now. And I don't know, I haven't seen the movie. Why is it even set in the 90s other than, oh, we're have fun with the 90s? It's just like arbitrarily thrown in there, apparently. So I feel like they probably should have just skipped it right now and put it later, which is sad because, like, the way I understand it, Captain Marvel as a movie was finished and pretty much ready to go like last July, and they kept kicking the can down the road on when to release it. So now it's ended up in a really weird spot where you're not even going to get the weird Captain Marvel non-hype to die down before the before the actual movie we're all waiting to see comes out. I don't know where I was going with a lot of this, but I don't know. On behalf of a large portion of the community who's unsure about Captain Marvel, we don't hate her because she's a woman, and we don't hate, for the most part, we don't actually hate her. It's just weird because apparently the movie was written, directed pretty badly, and the first couple trailers were cut really incompetently because they were freaking boring. It kind of sucked. So I don't blame Brie Larson. I guess my opinion on her all depends on whether or not she pulls a Ghostbusters 2016 and says, my movie would have made so much more money if it weren't for the white men. Because that's what Ghostbusters 2016 and was it Ocean's, was it 8 or 9? I think it was 8. I'm not familiar with that series. But those actresses did the same thing. They were like, oh, our movie tanked because of white male reviewers. Which, no, by everyone's admission, that movie was not good. And it's the same with Ghostbusters. If your movie's crap, it's crap. Everyone's going to call it crap. If it's just boring, people are going to call it boring. For the vast majority of people these days, the fact that someone's black or a woman or whatever the heck really doesn't matter that much. The only one where you might have a case is like Muslims, because some people are legitimately still very Islamophobic, and it's like mildly widespread. But there are no Muslim people in any of those 3 movies, as far as I know anyway. Once again, I haven't seen any of those 3 because all of them it was like, this movie is not for you. And I'm like, okay, I guess I might not see it. That's what happens if you're like, oh, this movie is definitely not for you. I'm like, okay, I won't see it. And then, I don't know. I'm getting into my whole weird feminist rant because sometimes I get really annoyed at feminists. But yes, if you tell white men 30% of the United States population is white men, if you tell them this movie is not for you, don't come see it, you just lost 30% of your potential money. So why are you doing that? Because I was excited to see Captain Marvel, but then they were like, no, it's not for you. And then our reviewer was like, yeah, the movie's not that good. I would have been mad if I spent money on that movie. According to the reviewer said that. It's like, oh, so you're telling me it's legitimately not worth my money to see it, even just once. So that's what turned it around, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm not going to see it. Because everyone's saying, it's not for you, it's not worth the money, it's boring, and it sucks. That's why I won't see Captain Marvel until it's like on, I don't know. Give it till May or June, it'll be on Netflix or something, probably. Infinity War was up pretty quick, if I remember correctly. It came out in April and was up there like July, August. So, I don't know. That's about it. Gamer Who Shoot out.